Hi guys, it's Jamie here, and the purpose of today's video is to take a digital that I'm already using, which is the Something Wicked digital from Magpie Printables, and I've already used it to create journaling cards and tags, and I wanted to use it again in such a way that you wouldn't know that I'd used the same kit a second time, even though it's all going into the same journal. I hope I'm making sense. That's what I'm doing today on the video, is converting a double page of the Asda Christmas freebie into these. We'll go through these in a bit more detail, but hopefully you can see a bit of, I'm hoping by moving them, you can see the shininess in these, that they've got a bit of a pearly shine to the backgrounds. That's what I'm hoping you can see with these. The video will show you how we got these backgrounds, the decision-making process in designing, and then the alternatives that I used for just using the tags that came in the kit, but making them look very different to the tags that you would print up on the printer. If you enjoy this type of video, please give it a thumbs up, because that helps other people see it, which helps me out. If you like what I do, and this is very kind of typical, I suppose, do consider subscribing. And now we're going to go back a whole day, to the very beginning. I will edit it highly, do not worry. I will try and make it as quick as possible for you. And today we're going to do another masterboard using the Something Wicked kit. The aim of today is to do some tags and journaling cards that look completely different to the previous ones, even though we're using the same kit. First of all, we're going to lay a base down for the masterboard. And to do that, I've got some torn up bits of book page, some torn up music notes, and the digitals themselves. Normally, as you know, I do all book page first and then add extras. This time we're going straight in with a mix of different items going on. And what I want to do is the same as before, which is when we come to line the back with the card, we don't look at the images. So when we cut the tags, we have no idea what they're going to look like until they're cut. And all I'm going to do is cover all of this and then recover it with the Mod Podge, because that gives us a protective surface for any treatments that we do afterwards. It makes the paper slightly less porous. I will come back when that's done. I'm going to take a little bit of the white gesso, the yellow ochre. So what we're looking for is a slightly aged look. And we're going to take the brayer and just give it a casual roll over. So you can see the paint's not even mixed up properly, and that actually gives quite a cool effect. In this jar, not Colombia's finest, plaster of Paris, very, very cheap. And what we're going to do is we're going to make our own texture paste. The mixture that we're doing is 2 parts white glue. Doesn't have to be an expensive glue. PVA, you can use Mod Podge if you really want, and 2 parts plaster of Paris. I am going to end up getting glue all over me. I'm using teaspoons because it doesn't keep. And then mix and mix and mix and mix until it's smooth. I'm not going to use a stencil, I just want to add a bit of texture to this paper. See how smooth that's gone. Just going to behave like we're plastering a wall. I'm just deliberately using up as much as possible. Okay, dry time. I've actually just mixed up some more because I've decided I do want to try and get a bit more texture on this. Got a toilet roll here. Just want to try and get a circle or two onto here. It may not be very good circles, mind. This is all just a big experiment as usual. feel like a bricklayer. All else fails, use fingers. Once that's basically dry, I'm going to take the darkest colour I've got and some water. Not as runny as I'd like. What we're trying to do is just darken it up a bit. I could use the distress inks, but I don't really want to. So we're going to give it a good soaking. I'll start spreading it then. And we're going to be soaking everything. Yum. Oh look, it's beginning to go around some of the circles as well. What I'll also do while I'm here and there are drips is take tags that haven't been touched with anything and dip them in, because I said we were going to try and use the same digitals but get different looks on them. I'm not a massive fan of this so far, so we're going to use the distress ink, and that's the espresso, and a makeup sponge. I'm going to see if I can get, no, what else can we do? Let's try just a corner. And see if we do it actually on the page. I know the effect I want, just a question of getting it. I'm just not getting the effect I want, I don't think. Right, let's just go for it. I'm going to lightly rub over the whole lot, and then I'm not going to tilt it. I'm going to see if I can get the effect I want just by spraying it, and then maybe bring the heat tool in, the heat gun. I think I'm getting more of what I was looking for. The next thing we're going to try is the mica powder. Now, because it hasn't been treated, once we've used this, we will need to, once it's dry, spray it with hairspray. I am going to spot a couple of colours and see how those look. I wonder if we can get them to move about a bit. No, not very easily. I've chosen the light blue and the cherry red to begin with. We are going to do the usual, which is hit it with some water, see what happens. Hit the whole thing. Probably not enough powder on there. Let's go with a different blue and a bit more of the red, I think. Whoa, didn't mean to do as much. Right, red it is. Oh well, we'll soon find out what happens now. I don't know if pretty is what you want for Halloween, but ooh. Oh well, be brave. We're coming in with lilac, as you do. And let's see what happens when we've added lilac. I'm going to get the heat gun on this lot, I think, and see what happens when it's dry. Of course, it should be all pearly and iridescent. So something we have while that's drying away a little bit is these tags, and we still have these powders. We are going to see what we can do with this spare stunning. It's the next evening. Everything has now been treated to make sure that this mica powder can't come off in your hands. I sprayed all of these tags twice with hairspray, just a cheap Silvercrane, I think it was, hairspray, and then coated them all with Mod Podge as well, just to be super safe. They've been backed with craft card and had holes punched in and ribbons added. I don't know if you can see the glitter. It's quite hard to get the glitter showing, but hopefully you can see that this has given the tags a very different look to the original digital. What you can do is you could go further and use some StazOn ink and add some ink stamps. I'll do it to this one just to show you that you could do additional stuff. They have been edged in StazOn as well, by the way. So you could do something like that, just add some text over it, or a postage mark or a label mark, and again you're just taking it up another level. Now with these, I've managed to get, oh, I forgot to count them, quite a lot of journaling cards or tags. Some really big ones. I haven't done anything extra apart from back them with some white card and cut them and punched holes in them. And again, they are super firm. They've had the treatment with the 2 coats of hairspray and the top coat of Mod Podge as well. And then you've got all these different sizes, and you can just about underneath them see some of that original collaging with some of the original images from the digitals. But again, if you receive this as a journal, in a journal, you would not be thinking, oh, they've used the same images over and over again, because each one has been crafted differently. With these, I was thinking of doing some ink stamping in both the StazOn black and the permanent, I happen to have Memento espresso. So I'm going to do script stamps in espresso. We'll use this one again, and then top them with other stamps, layering stamps. And I know I've just contaminated my ink stamp there. Stamp that on a couple of times. The espresso makes it very faint, but it's there. Let that dry and then add some extra stamps. I'll just grab those. We'll play with adding a couple of extras so you can see the general idea of the layering. I've just picked up this sort of border looking stamp that has a bit of numbering on it. Again, use the StazOn, just put that as a border, and you can see you're starting to get a slightly different look. Stick that on. Yeah, so we're just adding a bit of layering. You could use colour inks as well. We've got a bit of an architecture style stamp. Let's pop that over there. Didn't come out too well, but then I didn't rub it that hard. Let's get something else as well then. Well, let's do that one again on a different one, because it didn't come out strong enough to worry about the fact it's on one label. Let's pop it down this end bit. I think the texture paste is affecting it a little bit. You can sort of see bits of architecture, but because it's not flat, might have to stick with a smaller stance. But this is the point. It's all experimental, trial and error. See what works, see what doesn't work. Let's try something else. Got a couple of little bottles. See if these will come up. If not, we might have to go off the stamping idea and just leave them with a bit more paint effect or something on them. See if we can get with a little bit of a rocking motion maybe to overcome any texture paste. Oh, that's sort of working a bit better. You can see them. They're not hugely convincing though, are they? Stamping probably isn't going to work on these, but it does work on these. So let's stick something on here. It's definitely done something. Oh, look at me getting covered in ink again. Okay, I don't mind that at all, because you can see there's a pattern going on there. Let's try some stencils next. We will try using a brush and the stays on and that number on that stencil. And if this doesn't work, I think we're going to have to go with something like using black card, cutting silhouettes. See if we can get in there, because it's a brush, I'm hoping. Oh, it sort of looks like the number 2. Let's put a 9 underneath it. Maybe get a few more circles in. Oh, I'm moving the stencil a bit too much. Trying to get a image out of it. Let's just see. Okay, we've got some numbers on there, and that did work. It's quite dark now, so I think we also need to perhaps create a border. That's a bit more like it. That's a little bit more obvious there's something going on there. And then what you can do is, if you have one, or what I can do, because I do have one, is grab the white paint pen and then potentially just get some little white highlights, get some black in there as well. And yeah, not bad, quite modern. Don't know if it says horror, but I quite like it. That one's very muted, just looks like a big lacy pattern. This one probably do with something, but what is going to work? I wonder if this, no. It will flick. Just curious as to whether, didn't mean to get that one, but never mind. You could get flicks with that, and you can. Actually, flicks on that one aren't too bad. Yay! Modern art. You know what, I quite like the flicks. If you don't like the flicks, obviously don't do them. I quite like them. Quite like this dark smoky edge around this one, so I might do a dark edge around some of these. I'm going to keep playing. I will come back and show you the final results. We're back with the finished results, and I'm actually quite pleased with them now. I found some labels that I'd made on hand painted coloured paper. So I've added a couple of those to these ones and just gone round them with the Stabilo and smudged it a bit so they highlight. And this is, again, using that coloured paper, was a stamp, an ink stamp of a bone, which obviously is relevant to the theme. Then this one you saw, now that's dried, that looks awesome, I think. Same with that one. With this one, I just used this to draw on a spooky tree, and I did it left-handed. So my non-dominant hand, it helps get the wiggles. Again, this was an ink stamp that I done on some coloured paper, and the same with the label, and just went round the outside. So as you can see, they came in handy in the end. They've sat in an envelope for 6-7 weeks. Never released a video because I wasn't sure whether I liked the results or not, and now I'm using them. Another little spooky tree. I hope you can see all this lovely shine on these. Really are pretty. And then another one of those little labels, and that is definitely it for this video, and I will see you next time.